Good evening. I'm Richard Lodge. I'm the recently retired editor of the Daily News of Newburyport, but I also have worked as a reporter and editor at a number of newspapers in Massachusetts. Quite a few years ago, in the mid-1980s, I worked as managing editor under George Geers. And I'm here tonight to congratulate George Geers on his entry into the Hall of Fame and to tell you a quick story about him and about what I learned working for George. We worked at the Southbridge News, a small daily newspaper in central Massachusetts. I was managing editor, he was editor, there was a sports editor and maybe 3 or 4 other staff members. So it was a pretty small afternoon daily newspaper. I'd get up at 4:30 in the morning and drive into Southbridge to the newsroom, and George was already there working away because it was an afternoon paper. And he just seemed to be handling everything. As editor, he could just crank out pages, edit wire copy, edit sports stories if he needed to, pick photos. So I learned a lot from him, how to pick and choose things and how to work really fast. But one thing George also did was he'd crank through a few pages or read through a bunch of stories, and then he'd take a quick break and run upstairs. The first few times he did that, I'm like, wow, what is this guy doing? He's like darting out of the room, going upstairs for 5 minutes and coming back down. He'd come back down and pop open a can of Tab at 6 in the morning. And one day I said, what are you doing up there? And he says, just taking a break. I'm just playing Space Invaders. So I went upstairs and realized there was a computer set up. This is the mid 80s with Space Invaders, the first video game I had ever seen on the screen. So I sat down and tried to figure it out, played a game of Space Invaders, and then went back down and did some more work. And we got into this weird routine of just taking a break, going up, playing Space Invaders, coming back down, editing copy out of the Soviet Union or stories out of Washington, D.C., or stories out of Sturbridge, Massachusetts, and then going back up and playing Space Invaders. I never learned to drink Tab at 6 in the morning, though. That was something that was strictly George's area. I just couldn't do it. I was a black coffee guy. But George taught me how to work fast, how to make good decisions, how to make decisions quickly, how to realize, you're never going to be perfect at what you're doing, but you're going to put out a daily newspaper. You're going to do it as well, as quickly as you can. Try to have a good mix of stories and just do a good job for the people that supported the paper and looked to your paper for news. And he was the guy that really showed me how to do that. And he taught me how to play Space Invaders. So congratulations, George. Welcome to the Hall of Fame. I can't imagine anyone who deserves it more. Thanks.